It's the second day of the month in which we celebrate our gifts to posterity, our children. This year's theme is Listen Up, Children's Voices Matter. We encourage you to be your child's best parent by asking their thoughts on things that affect them, getting to know their friends, their likes, dislikes, and how you can be a better parent. You're responsible for Jamaica's future leaders. Listen up and act on what you've heard.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, May 2, 2022. The Overseas Examinations Commission, OEC, has clarified that oral and practical exams are exempt from the rescheduling of CAPE and CSEC examinations. Deputy Director in charge of examinations at the CXC, Sharon Burnett, says only the written exams have been rescheduled and are now set to begin on May 23. Oral and practical exams already started on April 12. Meanwhile, the art production examinations will be conducted on their previously scheduled date. CSEC Visual Arts began today, and the CAPE Art and Design productions will begin on Monday, May 9, as these exam papers were already distributed to candidates before the announcement made by CXC. Practical examinations in music and PE and sport will also be conducted according to the arrangements that have already been finalized and circulated to schools and examiners. The revised timetables for the rescheduled written examinations will be uploaded to the CXC website, the Online Registration System, ORS, and the Student Portal. 5 more depots across the island will have access to electronic testing methods for persons applying for their provisional driver's license this financial year. Transport Minister Audley Shaw made the announcement during his recent contribution to the sectoral debate. He says under the initiative, applicants will also be able to receive their grades electronically.
As we seek to modernize our driver testing operations and also to bring trust to our operations, we have been executing the electronic testing of provisional driver's license applications.
Minister Shaw says operations for the digitization of driver's license records will also be extended to a further 7 examination depots during this financial year. This is to allow better access and analysis of driver's licensing records and to ensure greater integrity in the system. The minister adds that the motor vehicle fitness and inspection process will be strengthened by the implementation of geofencing technology.
This will ensure that there is evidence of vehicles being granted certificates of fitness, that these vehicles have in fact physically been present at the examination depots.
The Jamaica Bauxite Mining Company, JBM, is taking steps to commercialize bottled water extracted from the spring on its Ocho Rios property. Minister of Transport and Mining Audley Shaw says the project is slated to be launched in October this year. The water is to be distributed in bulk to the cruise lines that dock at the Reynolds Pier.
This innovative project will promote Jamaica's alkaline natural resource and will provide an economically viable revenue stream to the JBM. The project has been granted conceptual approval by the Public Investment Appraisal Branch.
The minister says other JBM plans include an industrial park that will involve the restoration of 3 dilapidated buildings into 60,000 square feet of modern storage facilities for commercial rental, a commercial park, and further development of the Reynolds Pier. The JBM has also earmarked 150 acres within the Lidford estate to build 500 affordable housing units, which will support the ecosystem infrastructure of the Lidford industrial and commercial park projects. This project is scheduled to start in December. Government is moving to train more healthcare workers, particularly nurses, and employ innovative ways to fill the gap in public health created by those who have migrated.
We may need to train them here and do the clinical rotation elsewhere. And that's what we are attempting to do. And in fact, we have started.
Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made the disclosure during the 12th annual Make Your Mark Middle Managers Leadership Conference held recently. He says that as the ministry confronts the future of work in public health, it is looking to pull opportunities out of the COVID-19 experience and put new arrangements in place.
So the discussions now around flexible contracts. Is it possible for a nurse to work 3 months in Miami or New York and work in Jamaica for a month or 2? Can we get institution to institutional arrangements?
And finally, watch parties will be organized to ensure Jamaicans in the diaspora who cannot return home can still enjoy this year's Jamaica 60 Grand Gala event in August. Addressing this weekend's media launch of Jamaica 60 in New York, Culture Minister Olivia Grange encouraged those living overseas to return home for Grand Gala or participate in the watch parties.
So you will be able to watch us in the National Stadium, and we will be able to watch you in the various diaspora communities while we celebrate. And I must tell you that the Jamaican colors will light up Niagara Falls on the night of the 6th.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who gave the keynote address at the media launch, reiterated that Jamaica 60 is a good opportunity to take stock of our achievements and shortcomings after 6 decades of independence.
We must celebrate what we have done well, but we must think about what we haven't done well as well. And having done those 2 things, then we go through a process of recommittal. That for the next 60 years, as Jamaicans, whether we are on the island or spread out all over the world, we are going to commit to make Jamaica the greatest country on earth.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
The travel file application was created by the Transport Authority for the protection of the commuting public. Please download the travel file application on the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Once you download the application, put in your phone number, register the application under your phone number, and then you'll be able to verify the license plate that you're going in. Once you verify the license plate and the information of the vehicle, you will then be able to share that trip of the vehicle that you're in. And if there is difficulty on the trip, you will then will be able to push a panic button and share your location with others as well. Download the application, give us our feedback at customerservice@ta.org.jm. Don't forget, it's free to download, free to use.
There are several public buildings where the disabled cannot gain access, including Parliament.
That's Labour and Social Security Minister Carl Samuda calling on employers to hire more persons from the disabled community. We echo that call and share with you the story of Therese Braham, who shows that her disability does not affect her ability to contribute to Jamaica, land we love.
I am diagnosed with what is called cerebral palsy. It is something that affects your your system on a whole. So the ability to talk may be affected, the ability to walk. So you have mild, severe, and moderate. So I'm diagnosed with what you call the mild. In my earlier years, I started out attending school at the Oak Valley School Experimental. At that point, I was using a walker. So I used to push it and then step with it. However, I was walking on my toe point. So about at the age of 12, Surgeon Golin, with the consent of my mother, did a surgery, hoping to have me standing up straight and being independent somewhat of the walker. However, the surgery did not go as we would want it to go. So my limbs became weaker and I ended up in a wheelchair. Well, growing up at first, like any other child, you'd wonder, why is it I'm not walking as a normal child would? As the years go by, you started to say, no, but I want to be able to do this, do that. However, the Mona Rehab Center provided a place for you where after a while you stop looking at that because you saw other persons who had similar disability like yours or even more severe, and we were all taught to do stuff. I moved on to Mona High School. After leaving high school, I wanted to do something with myself because sitting home was not me. And I was the type of person where I want to go out, so guess what? I need to support myself because as much as I love my parents, I was of the fact, one day they're going to be retiring. Then my head goes back, what is going to happen to me when my mother retires? So of course, and I had the family support, they said, okay, go and get a skill. I enrolled in Abilities Here, September 99. I did a 2-year course in data operations, level 1 at the time. About April, before I graduated 2001, I said, but if you're serious about not going home, you need to start sending out applications. And of course, Abilities was one of the places I sent an application to. So July 7th of that year, I started working here. Well, my disability has taught me that when it says the sky is the limit, it is. There are times when you're going to fall, but what is to stop you from rising? And one of the ways that my disability has taught me, and even some disabled association that I am affiliated with, like the Combined Disabilities Association and even Abilities Here, they have allowed me to go on exchange programs where you go and you interact with persons with other disabilities outside of Jamaica and even in Jamaica. And I have learned so much. I am able to speak about my disability. I have accepted that this is what I have. And it has also taught me that, guess what? I am sitting with cerebral palsy, but I'm not wasting my time. I'm molding other lives. I'm helping other persons to believe in themselves, to go out, because there are things I want to achieve and I feel I will achieve them. They will come with little obstacles because I'm not going to tell you that it's all good. And even my job here, it tells me if I quit, I'm saying to those that I've taught before, you can quit too. So there are times when we need to wipe the fears off and go again. Children with disabilities, whether you have CP or not, I strongly believe that you have a purpose. God has something for you to do. Because if somebody had said to me, you would be teaching, I'd be saying, really? If somebody had said to me, you'd be traveling to the various countries that I have been, I'd say, really no. I am saying to you, go out there and believe in yourself. It's going to be hard. And there's going to be days when you don't even want to see a soul, you don't want to hear anything. But after a while, shake that off and look at the good about you. Look at yourself first. What is it that you love about yourself? And once you can find one thing that you love about yourself, maximize on it and go for it, and the rest is history. Put it behind you and don't let anything stop you. My past managing director told me, life for us is a show, because he also has a disability. And whenever you get up in the morning, you have to be ready for the stage. Because the stage is ready for you, whether you're ready for it or not. Nothing can keep you down unless you want it to keep you down.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That must be Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
A holy way of celebrating it. They say the people them in them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, burn up, them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal pants of it, you know.
Medal.
Amount of tongue we give them, you know.
These celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it pre. Activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
Yeah. I download the app to get the updates then.
The government is steadfast in its commitment and care towards our nation's children. That passion is seen through its support of the work of the Microcare Center.
The Jamaica University College Child Assessment and Research in Education Center, a feat made possible by several major players, with renowned educator Professor Errol Miller leading the team, opened its doors in 1981 and over the years has grown to become the first point of contact in the diagnosis, evaluation and treatment of children with special needs in Jamaica.
In 1975, the Ministry of Education mandated Jamaica College to educate and train teachers for special education. An advisory committee was set up by the college. The committee recommended that Jamaica establish a diagnostic and therapeutic center capable of diagnosing the learning problems of children with multiple disabilities and develop instructional prescriptions for teachers and parents. As psychologists, education specialists, and therapists began to provide services to students, they had to use tests from overseas. Many were not appropriate in content. The assessment of reading posed the greatest challenge. Reading is common to all areas. Students needed the test to be tested individually. The content of reading tests had to reflect the physical and social environments, as well as the lived experience of children.
First published in 1995, the Microdiagnostic Reading Test is an instrument for teachers, diagnosticians, or professionals designed to assess the reading skills of children. Assessment results from this instrument is further used to design educational plans to meet the individual learning needs of the child.
As societies change, more is learned from research and experience gained from practice. Instruments have to be updated, upgraded, and refined. Hence, the Microdiagnostic Reading Test of 2018.
So it's been a number of years since the first edition has been out. So this new version is an updated version in terms of the passages, in terms of the grade range that it covers, and in terms of the subtests that are involved. We're looking at a number of different aspects of reading. We're looking at a child's ability to distinguish sound in the words that they hear. We're looking at their decoding ability, their knowledge of sight words, reading fluency, and their understanding of what they're reading. One of the benefits of this new version, because we're looking at a number of different areas of reading, is that we can be much more targeted in the recommendations that we're creating for teachers and parents. So instead of just saying a child has a reading deficit, we can say maybe they need to learn more sight words, maybe they need to learn, pick up their fluency, maybe they need to target comprehension. So we can focus on the specific area of reading that they're having difficulty with instead of just saying they have a reading concern.
It's administered individually. There are 3 components. There's a sight word, non-words, and reading comprehension. It takes about roughly an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the level at which the child is at. It varies because most of the children already come with reading problems. They are also aware that they have reading problems. So some are nervous, some have anxiety issues. So it's where I come into play, where I have to do some form of encouragement, let them know that reason why they're doing this test, for me to know their strengths and their weaknesses so that I can help them moving forward. So after the test is completed, I go through and I score. So the test will now tell me the level at which the child is reading. So that also lets me prepare work packets, activities, worksheets, etc. for their level, for their specific reading need.
It helped me to read and answer story and answer a lot of questions.
The MDRT is currently used in a number of countries across the region. It's used in a number of classrooms. We have a number of teachers who come through to be trained on it so that they can pick up the reading challenges that they have in the classroom. So we expect that this new version will all similarly be used across the region.
The new Microdiagnostic Reading Test 2nd edition is now available. Contact the Micro Care Center to register for one of our workshops at 876-929-7720-2 or by email at care_center@cwjamaica.com.
It's often said a nation's wealth is its health. And so we want to share some useful tips to help our citizens monitor their fat intake.
The human brain is 60% fat. Fats provide a storehouse of energy for the body and promote normal cell growth and healthy skin. Fat also acts like a cushion and heat regulator to protect the heart, liver, and other vital organs. And as most people would know, fat adds flavor to our food and helps us feel full longer. It is clear that having fat in our diet is beneficial in many ways, but too much or the wrong kind can be equally harmful. Fat is a source of essential fatty acids which help the body absorb vitamins A, D, and E. There are 3 types. Monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids are both considered good fats. The third, saturated fatty acid, is what we are often encouraged to avoid or lower our intake. So too, trans fat, which is created by a process called hydrogenation that makes the fat harder at room temperature to increase the shelf life.
What is in our foods impact on the quality of our lives?
The World Health Organization recommends that trans fat intake be limited to less than 1% of total energy intake, which translates to less than 2.2 grams per day with a 2,000 calorie diet.
Studies have shown that saturated fat increases the amount of bad cholesterol or LDL in the blood and has no effect on the good cholesterol, HDL. Trans fatty acids increase the amount of bad cholesterol in the blood and also reduce the amount of good cholesterol. Diets high in these bad fats are linked to obesity, heart disease, and other cardiovascular-related problems. Trans fat also causes malformation of cell membranes and other cell structures in the body, leading to weak cell walls and abnormal cell function. They are not recognized by enzymes and can cause neural degeneration and diminished brain function. So why then is trans fat used? Well, taste and economics. Trans fat makes food stay fresh on the shelf longer and improves food texture and flavor stability. Based on a 2021 assessment of the fatty acids in commonly consumed foods in Jamaica, our intake is very high.
If you look at confectionery, you see how high the percentage is there, and it comes down in several of the other food products. Okay, this is just the percentage that have trans fat. Notice that the canned foods had none at all, or the beverages that we looked at had no trans fat. Okay? But this is just saying whether there was trans fat in the product. What we are even more interested in is which products had high levels of trans fat. In terms of the highest concentrations, more than 2% of fat as trans fat, we see the dairy products, and it goes down like that. And then when we now look at those that had the same products that had high saturated fat along with the trans fat, we see the figures here.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is looking to change this and encourage better food production and consumption practices.
Healthier alternatives can be used that do not affect the taste or the cost of food.
Knowing what is in our food is part of the way forward. It is a lifestyle change to come through education, product reformulation, regulation, food labeling, and monitoring.
The elimination of industrially produced trans fats is part of a comprehensive policy package to prevent diet-related NCDs, which comprises mandatory food labeling, ingredients lists, nutrition panels declaring trans fats, interpretive front-of-package labeling based on nutrient profiles, restrictions on food marketing aimed at children and adolescents, mandatory standards for healthy food served in schools, and limits on sugar content.
It's not just about our resolve to do the right thing to consume what is in our best interest. That in and of itself is a challenge, because we have to now nudge, encourage, motivate, and in some instances legislate, I believe, certain types of actions to encourage better quality of life from a nutrition consumption standpoint. I think it is essential to advocating in the first instance for voluntary compliance as an immediate response.
As consumers, we have the choice of using naturally occurring unhydrogenated vegetable oils such as canola, safflower, sunflower, or olive oil. We can also limit red meat and choose lean cuts. It is also recommended that we steam, boil, or bake foods instead of cooking them in fats or oils. Another approach is to choose low-fat dairy products, poultry, and fish, and purchase processed foods made with unhydrogenated oils rather than partially or hydrogenated vegetable oils or saturated fats. Use soft margarines as a substitute for butter and choose soft margarine over the harder stick forms. Limit consumption of commercially fried foods and baked goods made with shortening or partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. Not only are these high in fat, but it is also likely to be trans fat. And cut back on foods high in dietary cholesterol. Let's eat healthy and live well.
That's all the time we have left here on this station. Missed aspects of today's or other shows? Visit our YouTube channel to catch up. We're also available at your leisure on our website, social media pages, and our mobile app that's smartphone compatible. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.